It's not bad luck. It's not the system. It's not just circumstance. The reason you're broke, tired, and stuck is because you're still doing the things that keep you there. And maybe no one told you this before, or maybe you weren't ready to hear it. But the truth is, your life is a reflection of your habits. Not your dreams, not your potential, just your habits. And right now, the habits you repeat daily are robbing you of the life you say you want. You wake up late and call it rest. You scroll endlessly and call it unwinding. You procrastinate and call it waiting for inspiration. You say you're tired, but it's not your body. It's your soul starving from being neglected. It's not fatigue, it's frustration. Because deep down, you know you're built for more. But you've let comfort disguise itself as self-care, and now you're caught in a life that feels safe, but is slowly suffocating your greatness. You talk about goals, but your actions betray you. You say you want wealth, but your money disappears on nonsense. You say you want discipline, but you negotiate with yourself every morning. You say you want energy, but your diet is dead, your sleep is a mess, and your environment is draining. You can't build a powerful life with weak routines. And most people will stay stuck not because they're not talented, but because they keep repeating habits that sabotage their own progress. You keep toxic people around and call it loyalty. You avoid tough conversations and call it peace. You stay passive and call it patience. You hold on to the version of yourself that's afraid of change because it's easier than facing the mirror. But what's easy now becomes regret later. You can't grow while you're still protecting your limitations. You can't rise while you're still defending what's holding you back. And no one is coming to fix it. No mentor, no book, no video can do the work for you. You want change? Then start changing. Stop romanticizing the version of you that keeps self-sabotaging. Stop identifying with your pain like it's your personality. Stop repeating the same dead routines and wondering why nothing is moving. You can't create a new life with the habits that built the old one. If you keep waking up with no plan, no discipline, no intention, don't expect life to reward you with clarity, money, or power. Life doesn't give handouts. It gives mirrors. It reflects what you repeat. And if you're constantly exhausted, constantly behind, constantly broke, that's not a life problem. That's a system problem. Your system is built to lose. Your habits are rehearsing failure every single day, and you don't even see it because you've normalized chaos. You've normalized being behind. You've normalized being drained. And that's the most dangerous part, when dysfunction starts to feel familiar. You're not tired because life is hard. You're tired because you've been living without alignment. You're mentally exhausted from all the pretending, from carrying guilt about what you didn't do, from silently knowing you could be sharper, stronger, more focused. That weight, that heaviness you feel, it's your potential begging to be released, and you're ignoring it, numbing it, distracting yourself from it. But it doesn't go away. It just festers, builds, until one day you wake up and you're 5 years behind your own destiny. You have to understand, broke isn't just financial. Broke is a mindset. Broke is your standard. Broke is when you trade every free hour for dopamine instead of discipline. When you binge more shows than you build skills. When you know what needs to be done, but still don't do it. That's not exhaustion. That's disconnection from purpose, from order, from identity. Your life won't change until your habits do. And your habits won't change until you get honest with yourself. Brutally honest. No more pretending. No more saying, I'm trying, when you're just surviving. No more hiding behind the same routines that gave you a life you resent. You are not tired. You are untrained. Untrained in saying no to what doesn't serve you. Untrained in choosing discomfort over distraction. Untrained in showing up even when no one is watching. But you can change that in a moment with a decision. You can choose new habits. You can kill the ones that keep you broke, the ones that rob you of your attention, your energy, your standards, the ones that seem small but are quietly ruining everything you say you care about. And it starts with accountability, with the humility to say, this is on me. Not my parents, not my past, not my boss, me, my habits, my choices, my patterns. And when you take that level of ownership, everything shifts. Your brain stops searching for someone to blame. Your soul stops settling, and your future starts responding, not to your dreams, but to your discipline. Because this isn't the kind of truth you hear once and walk away from. This is the kind that echoes, the kind that haunts you if you ignore it. And maybe that's what you need, to finally be haunted by the version of you that could have been, if only you had done the work instead of making excuses. You want to build a better life? Then you have to stop keeping habits that belong to the person you're trying to leave behind. You can't talk about wanting success and live like a ghost. You can't say you want change and still sleep through your purpose every morning. You don't need another journal prompt. You don't need another cup of coffee. You need to decide that your current level of effort is not good enough anymore. Look at your routine. Look at your screen time. Look at the way you carry yourself when nobody's watching. That's who you really are. That's what you're training. And don't lie to yourself, because every time you skip the workout, every time you silence your alarm, every time you break your own word, you're not just missing a task. You're rebuilding the cage you're trying to escape from. You don't get a new life from convenience. You get it from conviction, from doing the boring things, from saying no to the shortcuts, from staying in when everyone else is out, pretending they have time. You think success is some grand event, some magical breakthrough? Number, it's mundane, it's routine. It's found in the way you live on the days nobody is clapping. It's found in the hours you could waste but don't. And if you're broke right now, broke in energy, broke in discipline, broke in execution, it's not because you're incapable. It's because your habits are killing you slowly. The late nights doing nothing, the mornings wasted in bed, the weekends that were meant for rebuilding but became blur after blur of mindless distraction. You keep saying next week, you keep saying soon, and you don't realize you are running out of next weeks. What if this is the last season you get to build? What if the window is closing while you're scrolling? What if the dream is dying while you're still figuring it out? People don't fail because they didn't want it enough. They fail because they didn't build a system that could carry their ambition. They failed because they believed their feelings instead of their future. You don't need to feel like doing the work. You need to do it anyway. You need to become the kind of person whose habits don't depend on mood, only on mission. You're not stuck. You're undisciplined. You're not lost. You're untrained. You're not broken. You're distracted. And when you start cutting the dead weight, the shift will come fast. You'll start waking up with fire again. You'll stop needing motivation and start generating it. Because discipline is a form of energy. Clean habits produce momentum. And momentum is the fastest way to kill that feeling of being stuck. But if you keep sleeping and if you keep postponing what matters, if you keep lying to yourself about starting tomorrow, then don't cry when you're stuck in the same place 5 years from now, watching other people live the life you said you wanted. They didn't steal it from you. They out-disciplined you. They out-decided you. They did the work you keep delaying. Because here's the truth. No one is punished for being tired. You're punished for what you do while you're tired. Do you give in? Do you numb out? Do you collapse into comfort? Or do you get sharper, colder, more intentional? The world rewards the few who push through that wall, the wall of, I don't feel like it. That's where the winners separate. That's where legacy is made. And that's where your habits either become your weapon or your life sentence. So ask yourself right now, what am I rehearsing? What am I becoming good at without even realizing it? Because if you're not careful, you'll master procrastination. You'll master avoidance. You'll master mediocrity. Not because you're lazy, but because you repeated the wrong behaviors long enough that they became automatic. And that's what habits are, unconscious training. So start building habits that train you to win, habits that raise your focus, habits that protect your time, habits that make your name feel heavy in rooms where it used to feel invisible. Because this is where most people quit reading, quit listening, quit becoming, but not you. You're still here, still breathing in truth. And that alone tells me you're one of the few who can take it. Because let's go deeper now. You're not just broke financially. You're broke in self-respect. And that's far more dangerous. You tell yourself you're going to do something, then you don't. That's how trust dies. Not with betrayal from others, but betrayal from yourself. You keep making promises and breaking them. Over and over. Quietly. Privately. without consequence, until one day you wake up and realize you don't even believe yourself anymore. That's the real poverty, when you no longer trust your own word. And once that's broken, everything else starts to rot. Your confidence dies, your discipline weakens, your identity becomes fog. Because if your own voice doesn't carry weight inside your head, whose will? You keep looking outside for strength, hoping someone will say something that finally wakes you up. But no one's coming, because the truth is, it was always your job to believe yourself. And every habit you keep that contradicts your greatness chips away at that belief. You say you're meant for more. Then you hit snooze. You say you're chasing your dream. Then you spend your nights numbing out on junk food, Netflix, or YouTube black holes. You say you want to change, but you still keep your old circle. People who've never evolved, never sacrificed, never walked into a room with the kind of energy that makes silence loud. And the most dangerous part? You call this normal. You defend it. You get offended when someone calls it out. You start romanticizing balance when deep down you know you've been living in avoidance. But you can't heal from something you keep protecting. You can't fix what you keep feeding. You can't rise while still kneeling to your weakest impulses. Look around. Your life is trying to tell you something. The stress, the fatigue, the mental fog, the anxiety, it's all feedback. It's not failure. It's signals, warning signs, flashing lights saying you're out of alignment, and you can keep ignoring it, keep numbing it. But one day, that whisper becomes a scream. And by then, it'll cost more than just time. It'll cost your spirit. Because the more you betray your own potential, the heavier life gets. Not because life is punishing you, but because your soul is screaming to be used, and you've been silencing it for too long. You think healing starts with rest. Healing starts with respect, self-respect. And self-respect starts with how you live when no one's watching. Do you keep your word when it's hard? Do you train your body when it's tired? Do you speak to yourself like someone worth listening to? Or do you keep repeating the habits that built your prison? Because here's what you need to realize. Being stuck isn't a sentence. It's a choice repeated. Every time you say just this once to a lazy decision, you build the bars a little higher. Every time you make a compromise with the weakest part of yourself, you reinforce the lie that says, this is all I'm worth. And if you do that long enough, you won't just live in a cage. You'll become it. But you can change it. In fact, you must, because no one's coming to save you, and maybe no one ever will. But that doesn't mean you're doomed. It means you're responsible now. Responsible for rewriting your rhythm, rebuilding your reputation with yourself, rewriting the story. Start with one habit, one decision that's beneath the old you, but expected of the new one. 1 hour where you don't break. One night where you go to sleep early instead of escaping your thoughts. Because every small victory adds up. And suddenly, you're not broke anymore. You're rich in belief, rich in energy, rich in rhythm, and eventually, rich in every other way too. Because this isn't motivation anymore. This is war, a quiet war. The kind that happens between your ears, every hour of the day. The kind no one else sees but everyone feels in your results. And most people lose this war long before they ever get a chance to win in the world. Not because they weren't strong enough, but because they never stopped long enough to face the enemy within. Let me tell you something real. There is no future version of you that magically wakes up disciplined. There is no tomorrow where motivation just shows up with a cape and saves you. There is only now, this second, this breath, this decision. And you already know what needs to go. You feel it. The way you feel bloated after another night of junk. The way you hate yourself for scrolling until 3 a.m. The way your goals echo in your mind while your habits do the opposite. You don't need a coach to tell you what's wrong. Your own soul is screaming it. But you've silenced it for so long, now all you hear is distraction. You've built a life around your impulses, and now you wonder why you're anxious, unfocused, broke, and tired. But this isn't punishment. It's proof that your habits are working. Not for you, against you. They're succeeding at building a version of you that is disconnected, diluted, and addicted to ease. And the scariest part, you've accepted this as your baseline. But let me ask you this. Who taught you that life had to feel like this? Who told you that greatness was for someone else? Who convinced you that your power had an expiration date? Because it's a lie, all of it, and it dies right here, if you choose, because every habit is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. And right now, your habits are either voting for your future or voting for your failure. There's no neutral. There's no pause. Every bite, every scroll, every skipped workout, every hour wasted, it's all casting a ballot, not for who you are, but for who you're becoming. And most people lose the election every day, silently, slowly, until the life they wanted becomes the life they mourn. But not you, not anymore. Because you're not reading this for entertainment. You're still here because something in you is waking up. That part of you that remembers what it felt like to believe. That part of you that isn't satisfied with surviving. That part of you that doesn't want a life that looks good on paper but feels hollow in the dark. You don't want hype, you want alignment. And that starts by killing the old script. The one that says, I'm too tired. The one that says, this is just who I am. The one that says, I'll get serious when life calms down. Life doesn't calm down. Life tests you. It gets louder when you try to level up. It throws distractions in your face and waits to see if you'll bite. It offers you your old vices dressed in new excuses. And if you're not conscious, you'll accept it all and call it fate. But you don't want fate. You want freedom. You want that moment where you look in the mirror and finally recognize yourself again, not as who you've been, but as who you decided to become. That's the reward. That's the wealth. That's the real rich. It's not in the cars or the clothes or the cash. It's in clarity. Clarity in your habits, clarity in your boundaries, clarity in your values. When your actions match your words and your life feels earned, not inherited. So let's be clear now. If your life doesn't match your vision, it's your habits that need to die, not your dream. If you're broke, look at what you reward. If you're tired, look at what you tolerate. If you're stuck, look at what you repeat. And if you want to rise, truly rise, it starts by doing the boring, brutal, quiet work of self-respect. Waking up early even when no one sees it. Choosing discipline when no one claps. Declining comfort when no one would blame you for indulging. Because those are the moments your future is being built. Because this is no longer about motivation. This is about reconstruction. This is demolition of the life that's been quietly killing you. The soft life, the distracted life, the undisciplined, unaccountable, unfulfilled life you've settled into because at least it's familiar. Familiar is not freedom. Familiar is prison disguised as peace. And if you've gotten used to waking up with anxiety, used to the slow dread of another day of going nowhere, used to promising yourself you'll start Monday, then let me tell you what no one else will. You are not waiting on the right time. You are avoiding the real work. The real work isn't sexy. It's not fun. It's not viral. The real work is sitting alone with your own laziness and refusing to feed it anymore. It's standing in front of the mirror and not just seeing flaws, but fault, not as blame, but as ownership. You are tired, not because you've done too much, but because you've done too little of what actually builds you. Too little silence, too little discipline, too little saying no to things that drain you, too little choosing discomfort over dopamine. You are broke, not because money is scarce, but because your habits are. Scarce in vision, scarce in planning, scarce in execution. You think being stuck is a phase? Numbers stuck is a result of hundreds of days lived without aim, without urgency, without standards. You scroll too much, you talk too much, you sleep without purpose, and wake up already behind. You start things you never finish. You imagine the life but never build the system. You journal about clarity but live in chaos. And the worst part, you've normalized it. You've baptized your own dysfunction and called it self-compassion. But let me say it clearly. Self-compassion without self-confrontation is self-destruction. You can't keep forgiving yourself for habits you refuse to break. You can't keep coddling your weakness and expect to become powerful. You can't keep outsourcing your purpose to a future version of you that doesn't exist yet. It's you, now this hour, this breath. It doesn't start Monday. It starts with the next decision you make after this sentence ends. Because here's the secret no one tells you. You don't become unstoppable by doing extraordinary things. You become unstoppable by doing ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. You wake up and drink water instead of grabbing your phone. You sit in silence instead of drowning in distraction. You move your body when your mind says, stay in bed. You plan your day instead of letting it control you. You build routines like someone whose future depends on them, because it does. And when you do these things over and over, especially when you don't feel like it, something changes. Not instantly, not overnight, but slowly, invisibly, something inside you hardens. You stop needing praise. You stop chasing permission. You stop explaining yourself. You become a weapon, focused, silent, dangerous, not to others, but to the part of yourself that used to run the show, the weak part, the scared part, the part that made excuses and blamed everything but its own habits. That version of you, it dies. Not with a bang, but with 1,000 small choices stacked like bricks until it's buried under the foundation of your new life. Because that's what discipline is. It's not a trait. It's a funeral. It's where the lazy you is laid to rest, one habit at a time. And every time you show up when it's hard, every time you push when your body says stop, every time you do the thing you promised yourself you would do, you build credibility. And credibility is currency. It buys you confidence, and it buys you clarity. It buys you power. And once you have that, you don't fear being broke. You don't fear being tired. You don't fear being stuck, because you know you built your way out once. You can do it again. And no one can take that from you, because now we're not just cutting the dead weight. We're forging something sacred, something solid, something real. We're not just talking about habits anymore. We're talking about identity. You've been living like your habits are separate from who you are, like your bad sleep, your scattered mornings, your wasted evenings are just small things. But nothing is small when it's repeated daily. Every repetition is a vote, a chisel strike to the sculpture of your life. And what you're carving either looks like regret or it looks like legacy. Let me speak to that part of you that's sick of starting over, sick of being stuck in cycles, sick of promising yourself it'll be different, and watching it fall apart again. You don't need more motivation. You need momentum. You don't need better conditions. You need better convictions. You need to believe that who you are is built, not born. You need to stop looking in the mirror for evidence of your future and start creating it through your actions. The habit of talking big but executing small, kill it. The habit of waiting to feel ready, kill it. The habit of quitting at 40% effort and calling it burnout, kill it. You aren't tired because you've worked too hard. You're tired because you've lived out of alignment. Nothing drains you faster than living beneath your potential. And if you want energy, you won't find it in caffeine or rest. You'll find it in clarity. Clarity about who you are, what you're building, and what you will no longer tolerate. And yes, you will lose people along the way. You will outgrow their habits, their pace, their expectations, and it will hurt. But what hurts worse? Living a life that fits everyone else's comfort, but kills your own future. So let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Let them say you're too serious or too intense. You weren't built for average. You were built for alignment. And when your life is aligned, you won't need balance. You'll feel peace. Because real peace doesn't come from slowing down. It comes from doing what you said you would do. And when you start living like that, when your habits align with your vision, that's when life begins to move. Doors open. Energy returns. Ideas flow. Opportunities multiply. Not because of luck, but because you became the person who attracts what you once chased. And that's the goal, isn't it? To stop chasing motivation and become the standard. To walk into every day like you've already earned your place. To wake up not just with intention, but with intensity. Intensity is not aggression. Intensity is devotion. Devotion to the life you know you were meant to live. And that life is waiting on the other side of 1,000 tiny decisions. Choosing purpose over pleasure. Routine over randomness. Stillness over stimulation. Growth over gossip. And it's boring, it's lonely, it's hard, but it works. And when it starts to work, you'll feel it. Not just in your body, not just in your bank account, but in your soul. That fire will return, that swagger, that quiet certainty that says, I'm not there yet, but I've already won, because I'll never stop building. This is how you kill being broke. This is how you kill being tired. This is how you kill being stuck. You outgrow it, with habits that match the life you were meant for, not the one you've settled for. Still breathing, still rising, still here, still rising. Good, because now we're entering a different level, not just habits, not just identity. Now we talk spirit. We talk about the version of you that's buried under years of distractions, watered down choices, and low standards, but still alive, still fighting, still waiting to take over. That version of you, it's not motivated, it's militant, it doesn't need reminders, it doesn't need likes. It moves because the mission is sacred. And until you treat your time, your body, your goals like something sacred, you will stay broke. Broke in focus, broke in self-worth, broke in execution. And here's the truth no one likes to hear. The universe doesn't reward intentions. It rewards patterns. It watches what you repeat. And most people repeat delay. They're addicted to postponing their greatness. You know what keeps you stuck? Not failure. It's almost doing the work, almost changing, almost becoming someone they respect. You want out of that loop? Then shatter it. Not tomorrow. Now, not when you feel like it. Before you feel like it. Before the weakness sets in again and starts whispering all its favorite lies. Lies like, you've done enough. You deserve a break. You've had a long day. Number. You've had long years of living below your level. You don't need more rest, you need rebirth. And rebirth comes through fire, the fire of consistency. The fire of sacrifice, the fire of getting up again and again until your old self has no place left to hide. Because the truth is brutal, but simple. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. You will watch your potential rot in real time. You will feel the slow erosion of your confidence, not from one bad choice, but from daily toleration of mediocrity. You know what that does to a soul? It starves it, silently. You walk around looking alive, but you're hollow inside. Because deep down, your spirit knows you were meant for more. More silence, more strategy, more order, more fire. And you get that not by trying harder, but by becoming someone else entirely. Someone with habits so aligned, they don't need motivation. They are the motivation. Their presence alone is discipline. Their walk is purpose. Their voice cuts through noise because they don't talk from theory. They talk from proof. Proof built from sweat. From showing up when no one's watching. From doing the damn reps when the results are invisible. That's where real confidence is born. Not in success, but in self-respect. So don't tell me what you want. Tell me what you're willing to kill. Kill the excuses, kill the distractions, kill the identity that clings to comfort and calls it balance. There is no balance when your potential is at war with your patterns. There is only victory or decay. And if you're still here, you're not here to decay. You're here to build.